my fellow maniacs. Mark Burgess here, Big East Bass Fishing. Still in the middle of winter, cold, real cold. Not a lot of fishing going on for me right now. So I thought I'd talk to you a little bit more about what I do during this time of year. Some of that has changed, with COVID, with the lack of shows and things like that. Shows were a big part of what I did in the off season, have been for a long time. So with no shows this year, gives me a little bit of time to reflect and do things. And I thought I would talk a little bit about what I do in the off season. When I'm not fishing tournaments. And I got a little time here because obviously I'm driving. In addition to the wholesale changes I made to my boat, and if you didn't see that video, check that out. To recap a little bit, I made some big changes with the electronics in the boat and some of the equipment, and talked a bit about how that's going to impact my fishing. So some of the other things I do are centered around my other equipment, my tackle, if you will. So first off, I take inventory of everything, and I go through all my rods and reels. I clean everything, clean all the guides, just wipe down all the rods. They sell a product that does that. I use that. I run a Q-tip through all my guides, make sure that they're in good shape. There's no nicks or scratches that's going to cut my line or wear my line out prematurely. If the rod's still in decent shape, and if it's a rod I really use a lot and like, then I'll get those guides replaced. If the rod has served its purpose, I'll get rid of it. Usually I'll donate it to a youth program. If it's in good shape, obviously. Some of the newer equipment that comes out on the market is lighter, stronger, better, more sensitive, what have you, even the same brands, if you will. So I'll make some changes like that to the rods. I do that every year. My reels, I'll send them out, if they haven't been cleaned in a while, or, if they need service. Good time of year to do that. Earlier the better. They get pretty busy with that kind of stuff. I'll pick up any new reels that I think I need. Maybe 1 or 2 a year. Because they do wear out, even if you get them serviced and parts replaced. Eventually it's not cost effective to put $50, $60 or more into a reel, $100 into a reel. If you can buy a new one for $150, $200, whatever the case may be, but you have to make that decision based on what reel it is, what manufacturer, what the cost of the reel was, what the cost of it is to replace. So that's an individual thing. But at any rate, I go through all my rods, all my reel. I also go through all my tackle. I'll look through every single box. I start with the stuff that I use most often. Terminal tackle, hooks, weights, things like that. Write down, keep track of what I need, what quantities. My line, I I buy bulk line. I like using Seaguar fluorocarbon. Not sponsored by it, but that line has treated me well. And that goes for braid and mono as well. I still use all three line types, as I think everybody should. That's probably a show in itself, but like I said, go through my line, make sure I got enough line. Go through each box. Crankbait box. I am taking notice of the crankbaits I use a lot. What kind of shape are they in? I look at the bills. You know, I look at where the hook's attached to the bait. Sometimes you get a little cracking, you know, of the top coat and the bait of the paint. You know, if it's a wooden bait, you know, that's going to let in some moisture. So I just really pay attention to my money baits first off. And money baits for me are proven baits that catch fish. I have complete confidence in them. And I have a box basically of just those baits. For example, square bills. I got a lot of square bills. But I have the ones that only come out in a tournament situation. They're proven, they catch fish. I know they catch fish. If that's the situation and I'm throwing a square bill, I'm using a square bill, size, color, that works in that situation that I know catches fish. So I'm looking at all those baits first. Whether it be a square bill, or a wake bait, or, you know, a -1, or a top water, mid-depth crankbait, deep dive crankbait, whatever it is. I'm going through that stuff first. That's quite time consuming. I'm also replacing any hooks that need to be replaced at this time, so I start out on those baits, brand new hooks. All the baits that I carry in the boat, hard bait wise, are ready to go at a moment's notice. But I do carry all spare hooks in the boat with me, and frequently change them during the day if that bait's getting a lot of use. So then I'll go through all my soft plastics. Again, especially the ones that I use the most. Make sure I got plenty to start the season, or even go all the way through the season in some cases. I don't really need a whole lot in that regard. I mean, I've really cut down on the amount of plastic that I carry in the boat. I still have a ton of it in my fishing room, just because. Some of it's fallen out of favor. And, you know, I still catch fish, obviously, but the fresh stuff, you know, I want to make sure I have plenty of. So I go through all my tackle, first and foremost. And here's a little trick you can do that an old friend of mine taught me, and if he watches this video, he'll know who I'm talking about. He'll know I'm talking about him. You basically want to divide your tackle, all your tackle, everything you carry in the boat, in your truck, in your fishing room, garage, basement, whatever. Take all your tackle, line up a bunch of big tables, divide it into 3 different piles. First pile are baits that have never caught a bass. You've had them for a while, you've used them. You've used them in situations where they should have caught a bass. Meaning you were correct in your presentation, it was the right time of year, the right type of cover. Everything was correct. Your rigging, line size, rod combination, all that. In other words, you gave the bait a legitimate shot to prove itself. And it has not come through. All those baits, whether they be soft plastic, hard baits, top water, spinner baits, buzz baits, whatever it may be, in that pile. The second pile are baits that you may have gone through that process with, but you still feel like they should catch a bass. I mean, the color is just too good, the shape is perfect, the size. I mean, there's no reason in your mind that this thing shouldn't have caught a bass by now. But you're still on the fence. That's the second pile. The third pile is all the baits that have actually been in a fish's mouth, a bass's mouth, have caught bass on these baits. Now, of course, for hard baits, that means it's the actual bait, that particular bait. For, and that includes top waters and things like that. When it comes to spinner baits and buzz baits, it can be the same manufacturer, the same size, color, skirt color, blade combination, same size wire, all that. So it doesn't have to be that exact spinnerbait or buzzbait, but it can be if you have them. Hooks, weights, things like that, yes. Rigging wise, by now in your fishing you've identified hooks that you've lost a lot of fish on, haven't hooked fish very well. Maybe they bent, or they broke, or they were one and done. I've had some awesome hooks in the past, super needle sharp. One fish, point bent over, done. Can't even sharpen it or anything. Done. So go through all your hooks, weights, things like that. Even that stuff can make a big difference. The hardest thing is your soft plastics. Obviously it's not that exact soft plastic, so I'm talking, again, manufacturer, that brand of bait, that style of bait, if you will, color. Those that have been in a fish's mouth, you've caught fish on those will go into that pile as well. You're going to be amazed at the size of those three piles. If you have a lot of tackle, the smallest pile is going to be the baits that have actually gone into a fish's mouth. That first pile I talked about, donated to a youth program. They'll be glad to have it. Let those kids go through that same process. It's a process everybody has to go through to learn, basically. What will help you with the soft plastic deal is you can really limit the amount of colors you need. And for me, it's come down to, dirty water, off-colored water, stained water versus clear water. Okay, sunny versus cloudy. You need a white in your arsenal. Okay, spawn time, other situations where white bait is necessary. You need natural colors for clear water. Green pumpkin, watermelons, okay, translucent type colors, and for dirty water, blacks, black brown, black blue, black red. In clear water, where fish are actually looking at the bait, you can see the bait from a long distance away. You're trying to match the hatch and so forth. A bottom bait, like a jig or a creech bait, something like that, worm, in clear water wants to be natural. Green pumpkin, shades, watermelons, things like that. Watermelon red, green pumpkin orange. Those are basically just a couple of colors. 2-3 colors. The opposite of that for clear water is that shock and awe deal, where it's more of a reaction, super fast retrieve. Obviously your whites and your chartreuses. Okay, that's the exception to the rule. Dirty water, muddy water, dark colors, black, black brown, black blue, black red, or black neon. That's it. I mean, geographically, go to Florida, June bug, okay, that's another exception to the rule. Anybody that's still throwing floating worms in the spring, pink, orange, yellow, those are exceptions to the rule. But your day in and day out, you need some natural colors, just a few, and some darker colors for contrast. So for example, buzzbait. Buzzbait in muddy water, sunny conditions, black red, gold blade. Stained water, still gold blade, white chartreuse. Clear water, you can either go back and forth between a gold blade or a silver blade, nickel, and either a white gold skirt or silver white skirt. Same thing holds true for spinnerbaits as well. So I just, like I said, I kind of got a little bit off track there, but it kind of tied into tackle management. That's what I do during the off season. You know, go through all my equipment, all my baits, make sure I got everything I need, make any repairs necessary, replace anything that I need to. You know, of course, I'm looking at my schedule. The only time I really look ahead is this time of year. I guess I'll wrap it up with that. When I'm looking at my schedule, potential schedule, I'm looking at the whole thing, how that ties into my calendar and things like that. So I have practice time, you know, and I'm making arrangements, you know, to stay, whether it be, you know, friends or hotel, motel, campground, what have you, rent a house. I'll do that. When it comes to the actual, during the season, I get blinders on. I basically, you know, if I'm coming up to a particular event, I'm right on the event. I couldn't even tell you where the next place is I'm fishing. You know, someone says, oh, you know, what's next in the schedule? I don't know. I'm just focused on the then and now when I'm actually in the season. But that's basically what I do. Help pass the time, and I hope this helps you too. Obviously, this video is a little lengthy. I have some time on my hands. I'm just driving. So I hope this helps you out. Let me know if it does. Leave me a comment. Maybe I missed something. I'm open-minded. I'm always willing to add something to my routine that's going to help me out. All right, thanks for watching. We'll see you on the water.